What's up, guys? I'm just kind of waiting just a little bit so some people can get in here. Otherwise, it's really not worth doing this live. Probably not the greatest idea to do this on a Friday night. Although, if you're a computer nerd like me, of course, you're probably just sitting here doing nothing anyway. So Prasad, you asked in the chat, how long will it go on? Again, I'm not going to start here in a minute probably. And there's only about 7 entries. Really pathetic. These used to be really popular, especially when I started the site a few months ago. But well, about a year ago rather. But only 7 entries this time. So, all right. It says 24 currently watching. Momentarily, I will switch to the desktop. And this is just a basically a review because we had a design challenge at coursetetra.com to design a logo for a fictional service, and we had 7 entries, and so I'm going to rate and critique these entries live. Saudi Arabia. That's pretty wild for us U.S. people. Most people who think of Saudi Arabia just think of people's heads getting cut off and stuff, but I'm sure that's not really the case. I hate all governments, including the United States. All right, cool. So it's been almost 3 minutes now. Should probably get started because people, most people who watch this aren't going to be watching live. They'll be watching it after the fact. So they're just going to sit here and watch me talk and looking at this stupid blank. Right, yeah, this thumbnail here. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, so let me go ahead and cut to the main monitor. Okay, so every now and then I will look back to the live chat that's happening, and especially at the end, just to answer any questions if you guys have any or whatever. Okay, so this challenge was to design a symbol for a cryptocurrency service. Just real quick, I'm not going to go over all these details, but basically the requirements were to combine the ideas of currency, which is money, and messaging into a single simple symbol. That's it. So upload a 500 by 500 concept, upload only one concept. So again, submit with good design principles in mind. I went over all this stuff. So use good white space, color, contrast, hierarchy, and simplicity. And then I had some just brief thumbnails down here. Okay, so also something unique. Last time I already had these judged, but I have a little rating system down here. I'm going to rate them as I do the critiques down here with my little admin panel. So I'm going to start with the oldest first. So this was the first one that we received. Unfortunately, when I look at this one from Tim, I don't really understand what's happening. So I definitely get the 0 1s and 1 zeros. I understand that is a hint at digital currency, and just the idea. Well, not currency, but digital. But I guess perhaps currency comes in with the C. Perhaps I'm not really sure, and I'm also not really sure what the actual form is. So unfortunately, when it comes to simplicity, I'm going to have to rate you lower because there's actually, kind of a lot happening here. You have 1 0, 0 1, 1 up here, a big 1, a big O, and then the C with this coming out. It's actually pretty complex. Relevancy, again, I understand the digital aspect, but I don't see anything else except for this C. So I'm going to have to rate that pretty low too. The uniqueness, I'm just going to leave that in the middle because I don't even understand what's happening. Versatility, This is not actually very versatile simply for the fact that these tiny 0 1s, if we we scale this down real small, guess what? We can see the big 1 in O, but we can't see that stuff anymore. So that's a big no-no. So versatility is going to suffer quite a bit. Color and contrast. This is actually the strongest suit of this particular entry because there's a lot of contrast here essentially, and I do like the this yellow color on this darker background. Doesn't look quite black, so we'll give you an 8 on that one. All right, oops, relevancy down there. All right, so I'm just gonna hit judge there, and you will receive an email. All right, so Eric, so you wanted to combine the simplest forms of both of the elements required, currency and messaging. So I just turned an envelope into a coin bank. All right. So looking at this, let me scale this up just a bit. This is actually a pretty solid entry. Again, I'm going to go through just these 5 different criteria here. In terms of simplicity, it's not the most simple because we do have, a lot of lines that we can see here. But however, it definitely does look simple in terms of form, color. You have highlights, and they're straight, solid highlights. You also have their, just a few points where there are shadows, like down here. Again, everything's solid, simple lines. I like it. So simplicity, we'll put maybe a 6 or a 7. Relevancy, definitely relevant. We have currency with the coin here, and then we have messaging with the envelope. Very good. Uniqueness, I would say it's pretty unique. I also put it into the idea of a coin bank right here, and they're integrated pretty well, so I'll put that with a 7. Versatility, again, we could scale this down and still understand pretty much what's happening at a small size. It would also work well in black and white, so versatility, we'll put up an 8. Color in contrast. Looking at this, I have no problems with it in terms of color and contrast. So again, good solid entry here. Coming down here from David. All right, so today with a simple logo combining the euro symbol and a messaging bubble. All right, so we took a lesson from the last time and made the colors contrast. Okay, so one of the biggest problems in one of the areas I didn't really understand was this, the fact that this is left open right here. Maybe that's to try to align with this euro symbol. But if you didn't know otherwise that this was a messaging service, could you just look at, like, when I don't think most people who look at it would say, hey, this is a messaging bubble. I mean, you do have this down here, but it's still, I think, would have been a more simple and better approach would just to make this circle right here, the messaging circle bubble, fill it in with a solid color, maybe a darker one like this purple, and then it would just all be one solid shape, and then inside you would have your euro symbol or whatever, and make that white space or negative space. It would be white essentially. Also, I'm not really sure about using the euro symbol because that's not digital currency. It's it's fiat government currency like the U.S. dollar. But anyhow, so let me rate this real quick. Sorry, I have a sore throat. Simplicity, we'll leave it a 5. Relevancy, a little bit down because this is just a euro symbol. Uniqueness, we'll leave it a 5. Versatility, probably worked pretty well. And color and contrast actually isn't too bad, so we'll put it at a 6 or a 7. All right. So looking at this further, all right, Tyler, we only have just a few more. Let me get a drink. Okay. All right, so the digital currency wolf. All right. The biggest problem with this, there is no hint at messaging at all. So if we go all the way back up to the requirements, we'll see that it says right here, and messaging into a single simple symbol. So there's no hint at messaging down here, unfortunately. Outside of that, let me just go through each of these. So simplicity, it's actually kind of complex. I mean, you have these tiny little stroke coming down here. You have a lot of different lines and other such things taking place. So I'm going to put this at 4. Relevancy, that's going to suffer a lot, like at 2, simply because it's not relevant in that there's no messaging aspect, which was one of the core requirements. Uniqueness, and that's going to have to suffer. Versatility, not very versatile, because guess what? You know, the difference between this darker shade of yellow or orange and this right here is very minimal. So there's no contrast at all. And so if this were scaled down a lot, you may not even be able to barely see even further. I can't go further than this scaling down, unfortunately. But if it was scaled down a lot more, you may not even be able to see what this symbol is in the middle. So it's not very versatile. Color and contrast, again, the contrast issue we created right here, not very good. So that's going to suffer as well. Next here, this is actually not too bad of an entry, although they did combine multiple entries in the single upload, which was against my wishes. But I just looking at between these two, if I had to pick, I would probably choose this one. This one over here, I mean, if I zoom up just a little bit, I'm not a fan of the gradients and the soft transitions between two different colors. It's just kind of complex, makes things a little bit more complex. Over here, it's a little bit more simplified. We have simple highlights right here and shadows right here. This is all well and fine. However, you've mixed styles by adding gradients, soft gradients that come down from here, like with this shadow area. So to make things consistent, I would have stuck with just, you know, this very flat, solid color approach, which generally always works better when it comes to logos. You don't want to have a lot of different varying colors and shades of colors. Outside of that, I would say it's pretty unique as in terms of a concept. You know, you have a messenger as like a pigeon of some sort, combined with the idea of currency. So simplicity, again, if we're just looking at this one over here, which is my more favorite one, I'm going to leave it in the middle just because it gets pretty complex right here. Relevancy, you know, we're going to turn up to 7 or 8. Uniqueness, we'll leave, yeah, that's pretty unique, 7. Versatility, 6. Color and contrast, we'll leave it at 5. So thanks for that. And we only have 2 more. Just about done. One moment. Okay, so Saska, or I think that's how you pronounce your name. I tried to make a coin in an envelope, as a coin is usually used as a symbol for cryptocurrencies. Just reading this. So, okay, so the thing that really sticks out as a negative, in my opinion, is how thin this stroke is on everything. Also, there's some other issues, like if I get real close up, you know, this is extending beyond. That's just kind of sloppy. You want to make sure that doesn't happen. I don't like how this intersects here. You know, this stroke that intersects right here and just above and beyond. It creates for a little bit of a clash in style. What would be better is if you took the stroke and really thickened it up by almost like 1,000% almost. You know, really thicken it up, especially when you're going to present it at such a large size as you have here. Because if you scale this down, and if I were to scale it down a lot further, like it might be like an icon, it's not going to be a very solid shape. It's going to be just tiny little like 1 pixel shape that's defining this actual icon. So not ideal in that realm at least. Sorry, I'm trying to zoom in and out. So simplicity, pretty simple. Relevancy, pretty relevant. Uniqueness, probably a 4, maybe a 3, because this is what immediately maybe comes to mind. Versatility, again, that's going to suffer quite a bit because, again, if this is real small size, it's not going to present well. Color and contrast, we'll leave a 5. And then finally, we have our last entry. Sorry. We have Motaz. Okay, so I'm going to start with just simplicity because I think that's the biggest issue here. if we were to look at this, this is actually not very simple because we have because I understand what the idea was here, like behind maybe like TV scan lines or just this idea of digital distortion. I understand that that's a play on digital currency, but there's a lot happening in certain areas, like in this little money symbol here. They have really tiny like offsets for that distortion effect. Now, if you scale this down a lot, you're going to lose a lot of that detail, and it will simply become blurry. And you never want that. You want more simple, solid, identifiable shapes in your logo. All right, so that's going to be one issue. We'll really push it down to maybe like a 3 on our 3 to 10 scale or 1 to 10 scale. Relevancy, I could see this messaging symbol right here, but it doesn't seem like it was. It seems a little bit squashed all of a sudden. It didn't seem like it should just be another round messaging blip with this coming down, but I can kind of see what's happening here. I'm going to leave it at a 5. Uniqueness, I do like the idea of trying to do the distortion, but I just don't think it was pulled off very well. But looking at uniqueness alone, we'll pull that up to like a 6. Versatility, again, it won't be too versatile for the reasons that I mentioned. And then color and contrast, it's actually not that bad. I'm going to leave it at a 6 or put it at a 6. And there we go. So now if I simply just refresh this page, that's the end of all of our results. And I sort this by highest rating. We'll see that our highest rating came out to Eric at 76%. And then from there on, we're at 56%. What the hell happened? Looks like my rating did not hold for this guy. I think I forgot to hit put or judge rather. So they go, but they're on. If you're watching, who this is, Fizz Graphics, you probably already saw what I was rating it anyway, so I'm not going to rate it. In terms of the winner, not always is the person with the highest rating going to win. Because somebody with a lower rating percentage usually they won a couple other times. But looking between the 2 top entries, and I think this probably would have been the second place entry actually, for the reasons mentioned right here with this the gradient right here and the mixing of styles making it kind of inconsistent. It would be second place to this. So that means Eric is the winner. So I liked it. A lot happening here that is correct in terms of an effective logo symbolism or icon. So it just had a lot of factors working for it, as we can all see here. All right, so I'll hit you up with your free month or, of course, Cetro Pro membership. So again, there wasn't very many entries this time around, so that's kind of been a theme with these last 2. I just started these back up, and there's only 5 entries last time and then 7 entries this time. If you look at the older ones from months back, like back at the end of 2016, we had 30 entries, 41 entries, 32 entries, 73 entries, 129 entries. I don't know. These just used to be a little bit more popular back then. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do another one. Maybe I'll just close this all the way down. Either way, we'll see what happens here. Just looking at the chat real quick before I head out. Yeah, I'm just not sure if I'm going to do another challenge. I took the time to build this challenge system in on my site, but again, it's kind of not worth the time and effort if I'm just going to get 7 and 5 entries here. Oh well, I'll figure that out if I do want to do that. Also, just to keep you up to date about what's happening with the site, just earlier tonight I did release another tutorial on just some. Like my last tutorials have been based around specific Ionic Cordova plugins. and also the making of an upcoming of an Android app. It's an upcoming course I plan to do once I get back from this little mini vacation. This app is just kind of like a parody app. And if you go to CourseEtcher.com, you check out this page, you'll see this ridiculous trailer that I put up. It's kind of just poking fun at a certain demographic that tries to make everything privilege based. So I made a privilege card app. So check out this video though. And it's an actual app that you can use if you go to the App Store or the Google Play Store. And I'm thinking about doing a course for it about how I build it. It's a really solid, well-designed app that will teach people a lot of stuff. It's using Ionic 3 and Angular 4. I go into just a little bit of details about how it was made. But I'm thinking about doing the next paid course for Criqitue being based on this app. But yeah, that's basically it. All right, so I probably really chose a poor time to do a live stream. Either way, here's the thing. If I do stop doing the design challenges, I'm going to replace it with something else. I really like the idea of doing YouTube live, but probably not in the context of, well, definitely don't be doing YouTube live on a Friday night. Yeah, there's only like 17 people watching. Usually, the last one I did it in a better time, and there was like 75 people here. So I definitely wanted to think about how I can integrate live for something that's relevant based on a development or coding of some sort, design, etc. So that is it. Yeah. So check out, remember, CourseEtcher.com for other stuff, and just stay tuned. I'm definitely really focused on the site. The site just yesterday, actually, or the day before, hit 100,000 users in the last 30 days, which is a milestone that I had. So things are looking well for the site, and I definitely want to start growing, expanding. So yeah, I'm going to sign off now, and I will talk to you guys later.